Battle wedged atop brushed green bays.
Hello and welcome to the Crucible, where this time last week 32 players set out on a quest to win the most coveted prize in the sport of snooker. By Thursday that number was whittled down to 16 as we eased our way into the second round. And now today, the start of day 8, this is the current state of play.
You show the lights that stop me, turn to stone. You shine it when I'm alone, and so I tell myself that I'll be strong. Dreaming when they're gone, 'cause they're calling, calling, calling me home, calling, calling, calling home. You show the lights that stop me, turn to stone. You shine me when I'm alone.
Delighted to have Joe Perry alongside me on the arena floor. Joe, first of all, to reflect on Dave Gilbert's performance, first player through to the quarterfinal. How do you assess his two performances so far?
Very impressive. Two different matches altogether. You know, Luca really tested him, pushed him all the way, and he come through that. That gave him good confidence, I think, going into round 2. And then he was just a bit too good for Rob Milkins. You know, he got under his skin, upset Rob. Rob didn't perform, but Dave done what he had to do. As the match went on, he played his best snooker at the end. You mentioned his confidence. Do you think he came into the tournament with plenty of confidence? Do you think that win over Luca gave him that extra boost? Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got a lot more confidence now than when he come in, that's for sure. You know, something that's probably affected Dave in his career. It's probably why he hasn't won as much as his talent should have won. But that win over Luca's given him a lot of confidence, and he's going to take some stopping now. Yeah, he looks very good so far. Now, you were commentating last night on the match between Si Jiahui and Jack Jones. In all honesty, there were so many errors, which is unusual for those two players, who are generally quite smooth. Yeah, it can happen. You know, one player affects the other player. Sometimes it works the other way. One player can play really well, bring the best out of their opponent. This was the reverse. Well, they were both struggling and they just brought each other down. It just got really tough in the end, and I'm sure they were both delighted to get out of there last night. There was one point it looked as if Jack Jones was getting right away from Si Jiahui. How important was it that he came back and it finished 9-7 in favour of Jack? Yeah, he showed good temperament. You know, we know he's got that from last year. We know he can do that, and he just digs in, he keeps trying. It did look like it was going to be over in 2 sessions, but he stuck in. He got a little bit of help from Jack. He let him off when he could have maybe gone on to win, and he done what he had to do. And for players who have struggled through a session like that, how easy is it to turn it around for the restart? It's not easy to turn your form on. You can't just go from playing awful to playing really well. It doesn't really happen in snooker. It takes a while to come out of that bad run of form. But he can be happy and comfortable and pleased with the scoreline and maybe push on and just try and get enough over the line and just see if it improves in round 3. All right, well, still all to play for in that second round match. Let's have a look at what's coming up today at the Crucible. This morning, Shaun Murphy and Stephen Maguire resume their match. This afternoon, world number 3 Mark Allen starts his second round match against 4-time champion John Higgins, and Si Jiahui and Jack Jones play to conclusion. And then this evening, there are 2 cracking second round ties starting as Kyron Wilson takes on Mark Selby's conqueror Joe O'Connor, and Jack Lazowski faces Stuart Bingham. But this morning, we're going to focus on the closing stages of the match between the world number 2 and one of the favourites for the title up against the world number 14. Judd Trump and Tom Ford resume their match with the 2019 world champion leading 6-2. A break of 107 in the opening frame saw Trump extend his advantage on the way to a 9-3 lead at the interval. After the break, Trump piled on the pressure to lead 11-4, but in the afternoon's final frame, Ford compiled a break of 83 to give him a glimmer of hope ahead of today's final session. So Judd Trump just 2 frames away from making it through to the quarterfinals. How do you feel he's coping with his own expectations of wanting to win this more than once this year? Yeah, he's vastly experienced now. He's won lots of events. He's coping with it well, I think. I think he's sort of cruising. He hasn't found anywhere near top gear yet. He's played well to make the matches comfortable score lines, but he's got plenty in reserve, I think.
What about the prospects of Tom Ford? An 11-5 deficit has been overturned before, so do you give him a lot of hope?
Not a lot, no. He'll come out, try and make the scoreline respectable and see where that takes him. If he can win the first 3 or 4 frames, who knows? But it's more about making the scoreline respectable and then just see what happens from there.
I'd like to ask you about the Stephen Maguire-Sean Murphy match. Again, another match where I thought we'll see 2 players getting into long breaks, smooth cue actions, but they didn't seem to find a rhythm.
No, they sort of negated each other a little bit. You know, it's an edgy match, a bit gritty. I think we'll see a bit more free-flowing, high-scoring stuff today.
We certainly hope so. Stephen Maguire, I like his attitude this year at the tournament. He seems really determined. Not that he hasn't before, but he seems so fixed and focused.
Yes, he looked from round 1, he looked really sharp, really determined, like you say, trying really, really hard. And I think he knows he's in good form and he thinks he can go deep in this tournament.
Sean Murphy will be hoping to improve his quality from yesterday. There is Judd Trump, the man with a lot of expectations on his shoulders, some of them put on by he himself. Let's head over to Rob Walker to welcome the players out.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the middle Saturday at the Kazoo World Snooker Championship, and already only 15 men remain in contention for the big title. By the end of tonight, 4 world champions will have graced this magnificent stage. Time to find out who'll be joining Dave Gilbert in the last 8 on day 8 here at the one and only Crucible Theatre. Here comes a player who won the last 2 of the session yesterday to carve out a useful overnight lead. Can he take another step closer to a 3rd quarter-final in the last 6 years? Twice he's reached the semis, as tenacious as he is talented. Here comes Stephen the Maverick Maguire. And his opponent, a class act on and off the bays. Could he edge closer to a 10th quarter-final, 19 years after his first, which of course led to the crown in 05. Winner of 12 ranking titles in all, a man who absolutely loves the Crucible stage. He's Sean the Magician Murphy. And now to a player in uncharted territory. Never before has he reached the last 16 at the Crucible. Never before has he been so high in the world rankings. Under pressure, yes, but he's coming towards the end of his greatest season on tour, and he'll give this absolutely everything. Some say there's a passing resemblance between us. So come on, Sheffield, would you please welcome the exceptionally handsome Tom Ford. And finally, to a man 2 frames away from a 10th Crucible quarter-final, 13 years after his first. The most prolific winner of his generation, 22 major crowns in the last 6 years, including the big one here in 19. The most decorated left-handed player in history, the ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
Terrific atmosphere in the Crucible this morning.